Hello and welcome to Deloitte. I'm Claire Weller and I'm here with Dominic Cockram, a risk advisory partner at Deloitte, as part of our Cyber Insights series. Dominic, when a business suffers a data breach, it's important to put the customer first. What problems can businesses have in terms of notification?
I think when businesses, which obviously have to notify their customers if they have suffered a data breach and they believe those customers are at risk of a high impact from losing that information, the challenge is actually how are you going to reach out to those customers. The first challenge really is around how many have you got to reach. Do you know whether the breach is a contained and limited number of people, or actually do you need to tell all of your customers because you're not quite sure the scale of the breach and exactly what has happened. Often there's a lot of uncertainty in the early stages of the discovery of a data breach, and the business therefore has to make decisions, critical decisions against the clock in many ways, around what they're going to do next in terms of notifying. So when they then come to the actual notification process, you've then got decisions around, do you simply want to put a notification on your website, which generally means relatively few people will see it? Do you want to put a notification out via email? And the challenge with putting notifications out via email, which we have seen with quite a lot of the breaches recently, is that actually customers potentially, on being told in an email that a data breach has happened, start to wonder whether that email is a phishing scam in itself, and therefore they become very suspicious of that email. Obviously also amongst the customer base you have people of all ages, and not everyone looks as avidly at email as some others, and therefore you obviously have an uptake issue there, and it generally has a lower uptake against sending customers letters. It is the most costly way to do it, but it is the best way to do it without a doubt, because sending a letter to someone from your business on your headed paper, telling them what has happened, telling them what they can do to protect themselves, is without a doubt the most effective way to deal with it.
So it's a complex process. We know that GDPR means it has to be a speedy process. And of course, in other countries, presumably, they have different versions of GDPR.
Well, GDPR is one regulation across Europe. Each country will have nuances within their own legal system as well. The challenge around notification when you're looking at notifying a customer base across Europe is obviously you've got to put it into different languages as well. Ideally, you want to mail customers from the local jurisdiction, so from that country, so it feels like it's come from someone inside that country. And you've obviously got to get all the nuances in the language right compared to your original version. You do also have challenges, particularly around the larger breaches, say in countries like the United Kingdom. If you want to send a letter out to more than 500,000 people, you need to notify the post office. Because actually that is a significant surge of input into the national postal system. Therefore, you need to really be considering so many different factors around notification, because the more people you notify in one go, the bigger potentially the surge of questions will be into your call centres as a result of that notification. So once you get into the larger sorts of breaches, you then have to start deliberately to plan to notify people in tranches, A, in order to manage the postal system, and B, in order to manage the capacity requirements in your own call centres in order to deal with the calls that will inevitably follow on from those letters or those emails landing, because customers are all going to be worried, particularly if you've lost financial information.
So it's an extremely complex process. Thank you very much for explaining it, and thank you very much indeed for watching.